Hi everyone, it's Alice. So today I'm back for a new video. I'm just going to give you a little bit of an update about what I'm reading at the moment. So today's a great day. It is grey outside. It's possibly going to be raining later on. We really need the rain here, so it'd be great. I know a lot of people don't like rain, but I love rain. I really love rain and snow. I love cold, but when I'm inside and it's not too cold. Anyway, let's just get started about the books because I've got lots to tell you. So the first one I have finished at the beginning of September or late August, I can't remember. Anyway, it's A Skinful of Shadows by Hardinge. So I think I told you a little bit about that one in my previous video, but anyway, so this is the story about Makepeace. She has this strange ability. She can speak to ghosts. She has this little skill, and she can sense them and speak to them, and going to take her back to her father's castle, a father she didn't know, but she has to go back when something tragic happens in her life, and lots of things are going to happen there. So basically it's the story of this young girl. She's 12, I think. Yeah, 12 or 14, I can't remember. Anyway, and I thought it was great. So I had read Hardinge before, The Light Tree, and I really enjoyed it. So I decided to give it a go on someone's recommendation, and I have not been disappointed. I really enjoyed that book too. So I thought it was kind of similar to The Light Tree in the aspect that you have this very young girl who's very smart, very interesting. I really enjoyed the character. I think it's probably one of my favorite characters from this year, Makepeace. I thought she was very interesting, and she was just so nice to be around. I don't know how to say that, but some characters you don't like, and some characters you really, I don't know, you have, you know, a little bond with them maybe, and I really enjoyed her. So I don't know if there's going to be a second one of this novel. I just need to double check, but maybe there is, and I'll be very interested to read it. But yeah, if you haven't read any books by Hardinge, just do it, because it's just, yeah, I think it's worth your time. So I really enjoyed it, as I said. So here you go. The second book I wanted to tell you about is this one. So somebody recommended it to me, and I went to the library probably 2 weeks ago, and it was there on the shelf. So I decided, oh, that's a sign, I'm just gonna get it, and then I'll see what I think. So The Snow Child. What I knew at the time is that it was about a couple that couldn't have any children, and they went and settled somewhere where it was cold, and suddenly this little girl appeared and they became kind of their parents. So so it's a bit more complex than that, but basically that's what it is. So it's an older couple. I think they're in the probably 50s or something, and they couldn't have any children, and they decide to settle in Alaska at some point. It's very hard, it's very cold. They didn't realize how much work it was going to be to live, you know. They just wanted some peace and quiet, but yeah, it's just a lot of work for them. And at some point they decide one night with the first snowfall to make a little snow child. So they create the little snow girl, and having lots of fun doing it. And when they come back in the morning, the snow girl has disappeared, and instead they think they see a little girl running around the forest. And that's the beginning of the story. So it's very fairy tale like. So that's what I really enjoyed about the story. The atmosphere is just great. So I don't know how to say her name, Ivey. Anyway, I'm just trying. She is very gifted with words, because the description of the Alaska and the snow and the forest and everything, so it's so peaceful and so lyrical. It's just gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, just for that, just read the novel. So I really enjoyed the novel too. So it's very slow paced, so it's not, you know, packed with action, but if you follow my channel, you know that I enjoy a good novel with lots of action, but what I really enjoy too is when you build some very strong characters, better to have less action and a stronger story. Oh, that's what I think anyway. So so if you read this novel, here it's not, I mean it's winter, it's the end of winter, but it's not that cold. So if you read that in winter, I believe you would really, it's a very, very good novel to read in winter, a very cooking novel. You know, you can have your little cup of tea and your blanket in bed, and if it's snowing outside, I think it's probably the best thing. So yeah, definitely really enjoy that book. The last one I finished yesterday. Wanted to tell you about the last book I've read. So that is a book I really wanted to read for many years, and I couldn't get my hands on it, and so I saw it at the library again, and I decided that's the moment. I need to pick it up and read it. And at first I started reading it and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that book actually. You know, I really thought I was going to enjoy it a lot because that's usually the type of literature I do enjoy. So I was a little bit scared, kept pushing, and in the end I liked it. So I'm glad I kept reading. So that is Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. I don't know how to pronounce the name, sorry. So basically, for those who don't know about that book, I believe it's a very classic book. I've heard a lot about it, and I know a lot of African fiction or literature. They always talk about it, saying, you know, like it's kind of something you built from. So I was really interested to read it. And even though the character is really horrible, like you can really despise him, you still feel a little bit of, I don't know, you still get attached to him to some extent. Like I didn't like him by any means, but I couldn't despise him as much as I wanted to, so let's put it that way. So this is happening in Africa before white men came to colonize Africa. And so basically we follow this man, Okonkwo. He's a very strong man, so basically he's built his entire life, so he owes things to no one, it's just himself. He had a very lazy dad and he didn't get along with him at all, and because of that he was really traumatized, I'd say, by his childhood, so he decided to never show any weaknesses. So he's always been very strong and quite rude and ruthless. So yeah, very strong man. So basically we've got his entire life, how he built his life, and the life of the village, and how he became this very important man in the village, and the story of his wives and the culture in the village, like all the little traditional rights they have. And so it's very interesting in that regard. And also we're gonna follow the story of his children, and so there is this entire legacy, I'd say, subject in here that's very interesting. So how you give things to your children that maybe you didn't want to, and also how your children act the way they act because of their parents. And I thought it was very interesting. And also you've got this entire thing happening in the village when white men come to the village, and how it affects their lives and everything. That's, you know, basically colonization. So it's a short book, but there is quite a lot in there, and I thought it was very interesting. The style is very good. As I said, you really you can't really like, I think, the main character Okonkwo, because he's so hard on his children, so hard with his wives. He doesn't show any sign of love or anything, never, because he doesn't want to show any weaknesses. So that's very hard. But at the same time, if you read the story, you understand why he's the way he is, which is not to say that it's okay, but anyway. And it was also quite hard to read that book, I think, nowadays, because even if things are not perfect, we still have kind of an equality between men and women, at least in our society, and how it's not okay to treat women like trash, basically, nowadays. At least, you know, it's not, I mean, it's not being accepted socially, and it's very much accepted, but it was a long time ago, a different culture, a different, you know, you can't really say anything about that, but it was a bit hard sometimes. It was just like anyway, so great book. If you have read it, I would really like you to tell me what you thought about it, and I think I will probably reread it in the next few months if I can, and try and get a little bit more out of it. Then, the one I started yesterday, because I finished the other one yesterday, is Property by Lionel Shriver. Lionel Shriver, I don't know how you say this name in English, sorry. I'm very bad with names in general, I think, so I apologize for that. So this one is, I believe, the last one of this author, and I've read probably 3 books by this author, and I really enjoyed them. And so I really wanted to see what it was going to be like, because I've never read any short stories. So that's a collection of short stories, and it's all with the theme of property, I think, in a literal and not literal way. So I don't know anything. I've read literally 6 pages so far, which is not a lot. But yeah, it was just quite hard to get into that one after the other one. So I don't know. I'm a bit funny with reading at the moment. So yeah, so I believe this one is going to be great, and I can't wait to read at least 1 or 2 short stories and see a little bit what it's about. Then the other one I found in a room yesterday. I was very happy. I found 3 books. 2 I'm not interested in, so I'm going to give them away and take new books instead, or used books but new to me that I would enjoy reading. And the third one was this one. So that's The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, who is actually J.K. Rowling. So that is probably mainly the reason why I want to read it. The story sounds interesting, but I would probably not have picked it up if I didn't know it was J.K. Rowling who wrote it. So I would like to see what it can be. I have heard things about this book, good and not good, and so I just wanted to make up my own opinion. If you have read it, I would like you to let me know what you thought about it too, because it's going to be so much different from Harry Potter, obviously, but just to see if you can kind of see the writing that's a bit similar, or if it's completely different. And the last one I bought 2 days ago, because it was on my TBR for this year, and I saw it at this little pop-up bookstore, and they have everything $7, so I was like, yeah, this is for me, I'm going to buy this one. It was very hard to resist and only buy this one, but anyway, I decided not to buy the entire bookstore, because $7 is cheap, but then if you buy too many, then it's not cheap anymore. So this one is The Loneliest Girl in the Universe. I don't really know what it's about. I think it's about, if I can remember, I think it's about a girl who is basically her the last member of the crew on the spaceship, and then she's going to meet someone at some point. I don't really know anything about it, but it sounded like something I could really enjoy, especially because I've been enjoying so much the science fiction I've been reading this year. So I'm really into a fantasy and sci-fi mood at the moment. I just want to read everything about the universe. That's all I want to watch on Netflix too. So if you've got any good books, science fiction good books or fantasy that you really think everybody should read, don't hesitate to put them down below in the comment section, and I will definitely look them up, because that's something I'm really interested in at the moment. So here you go. That is it for today. That's all I wanted to tell you about. I said just let me know anything in the comments if you've read any of these books, what you've been reading this beginning of September, and how is the end of your summer or winter, wherever you are. And yeah, I will see you very soon. Bye!